Hello, my name is Heston Bachman, and today I will be showing you exactly how to cook a chuck roast in the pot roast. Pretty simple, so let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is take a fork and take your pot roast, your chuck roast. You're going to want to poke holes all the way through it. The reason I do that is just to allow the seasoning and the brine that I'm making to easily enter the meat to make for more thorough seasoning. Work your way around the whole thing. Also, if you notice, the roast that I'm working with is quite fatty. The reason we have that is to keep the flavor and the juice inside of the roast. It's going to allow it better moisture and a better product at the end. Alright, now that you have it poked enough, you're going to take the seasoning that you made, which is vegetable oil, and then equal parts of black pepper, equal parts of black pepper, garlic powder, salt, and a smoky mesquite seasoning. You can add any seasoning you like, just kind of your preference. This is the one I like, so that's what I was going to use today. So you'll take this and you'll just slowly cover your roast with that. And when that's done, you're just going to want to work that into your meat. Just like this. You get all sides. Perfect. Once you have that worked in, you're going to want to let that sit for the remainder of the time that you prepare the meal. So just so that gives it salt and the rest of the seasoning enough time to absorb into the meat. I'll wash my hands here. Now we'll work our way over here. We'll work onto the garnishings that go along with the chuck roast that we'll be making today. Since I don't have a regular bowl, I will have to use this this little pot that I have, so I'll have to do. First thing that I like to use are baby portabella mushrooms. For the biggest ones, I might cut them in half, but for the most part, I like to try to leave them whole. I just really like the earthy flavor that's in them. Really, it doesn't matter if you use regular, you could use morel mushrooms or just the white mushrooms that you get, it really doesn't matter. These are the ones I prefer. Put that in there. Next, you're going to use 2 whole purple onions. I like those because when they cook down, they get a lot sweeter and they caramelize a lot better. Like I said, 2 of them. Put those in there. On to the next is the baby carrots. You can add as many of these as you like. Add those in. And also 2 red potatoes. I like red potatoes a lot more than russets or the Yukon Gold just because I feel like the skin that we leave on them is a lot more, I don't know, I just like it a lot more. It gets a lot more buttery and tender than the other 2. Also, for the marinade that we'll use for this, we use vegetable oil along with equal parts of these 4 again, the salt, the black pepper, the smoky mesquite seasoning, and the garlic powder. I usually add about a tablespoon of each into my half cup of vegetable oil. We'll just add that in here like this. Done with these, so I will put them over here. Now you just do the same thing you did with that chuck roast, just work that into all the vegetables in there, so that all of them get coated equally. And then, like I also said with the vegetables, you can add green peppers if you like. Basically, any vegetable that you like to add to it, you sure can. And then, depending on how much you like each of them, you can add less or more. It's really not gonna make or break the meal. So. Alright, once I've got those fully seasoned, I'll let those sit there. Again, I'll wash my hands. Alright, now we're going to move on to the cooking portion of the video. First thing you do is you take your crock pot. There's many different variations of the crock pot. I like this one because it's got the locking lid on it, which allows the moisture and everything to stay better inside there, rather than if you don't have the locking ones, a lot of times the lid will like to sit and rock and bubble out and you'll lose a lot of that moisture. So go ahead and plug that in, turn your crock pot on high, and then what you're going to want to do is take about half of the vegetables that you have and add those to the bottom of the crock pot. Doesn't have to be anything too fancy, just add about half of them. Try and get them, you know, pretty much level. You then take your chuck roast and just place that perfectly on that bed of vegetables, right in the middle. Next thing you'll do is take the remainder of your vegetables and just pour them right over the top of your chuck roast. Make sure all that seasoning gets in there too, so you're not losing any of it. And basically, you've got your pot roast done. You take your lid, put that on top, latch both sides of the lid. That, and like that. And depending on the size of your roast, this is a little bit smaller one, so I'll probably go about 4 hours on this one. But for about like a 2 to 4 pounder, you probably want to go 4 hours. Maybe a 6 to 10 pounder, you want to go 6 to 8 hours, and just kind of up like that in 2 hour increments from there on out. So basically that wraps up the cooking of the pot roast. So thanks for tuning in.